Oh,
I would love to invite you.
I'm in the room with you.
And
Can you hear me?
okay, so here we go.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, I
Yes.
do. Yes.
Okay, so I'm on the screen,
So,
you're on the screen. This is good. So are you on your
okay.
are you on your computer?
No, I'm on my cell phone. Oh, I see you here, little
Yeah.
icon. Hi. Okay. So if I click you, okay, so then you become bigger. All right.
What I want to do
Hello.
one night is I want you to
Uh-huh.
come on my show and I'm just going to put up images, all spiritual
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and then you and I can just chew on each of the or sayings cuz you're
I
one of the most
love
spiritual
that.
people I've met on.
I really enjoyed that. Yesterday, you were doing that many different
Yeah.
images, and then it's like
You you
so
would be so good
intuitive.
at that, and you have so much depth. I want to
Yeah,
ask you
that's
a
a
couple
brilliant
questions.
show.
I want to ask you a couple
Yes.
questions. So, when did you know that you were like a spiritual being? That you were
Well,
sensitive?
actually, since I was a child, I kind of know things, simply know, and then and then didn't realize until that is kind of unique to me,
Mm-hmm.
and then became an adult and then I work for corporations and I seems to know that end already, and then but no one can understand what I am saying, so I needed to come up with the numbers and logics for marketing and training that way, and then somehow combine with that, and then people decided more listening in appropriate way. So my challenge is to using that left brain to build
Yes.
up with my right brain intuitions and creativity, kind of, so balancing out. And then from there I needed to more exploring that knowingness part,
Right.
because somehow that knowingness need to be trained in a different way. So I was looking for the teacher, and then they're in the business trip. I was living in Los Angeles and Tokyo, both places that time, and then they're in the business trip. I stopped by at my home in Los Angeles watching the Oprah Winfrey show at
Okay.
3 p.m. back then. And then there is a lady was saying that everybody is psychic and you are the psychic. And I teach you how you can use it. And then she just released a book called Practical Intuition. And then I was like taking a nap and watching. I said, this is it, this is it.
So
So
that was the
then,
first time. That was the first time you
yeah,
kind of yeah. Do you
yes.
have a device on right now that's because I can kind of hear myself a little bit. Do you have a
Oh, okay. So maybe that,
because you can hear me through the headphones, right?
yes, I can.
You're good now. Whatever
So,
you did, I don't know what you did. I can't hear myself
okay,
echoing.
maybe the plug.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good
Yeah.
now. But I've
Okay.
wanted you on my show forever, since the first time I met you, and
Thank
I
you.
would really
Thank
like us to
you.
do once a month or once a week, and you can bring your own images as well. But I think you could help a lot
Oh,
of
that's
people.
fantastic.
I do. I
Oh,
really
that's
think you have a
great.
gift.
Well, oh, thank you. And then what I found out is like your voice is very familiar. Like I connect immediately as an old knowing.
Yes.
And then you are playing with some music also, perhaps?
Yeah, I played my
Music
daughter's
or
music. I played my
creative.
daughter's music the other day as well. And I sing sometimes. Is that what you're
Oh,
talking
okay.
about? The looniness?
Yeah, it's probably because I can sense that because I came from the musical family because my
Yeah.
dad was a musician, and so it's like music is all around, and I could feel immediately connection with the people with the creative with the sound, and then your voice, and then your
Yes.
talk and delivery. It's very so homey to me. So I'm so glad that to be able to connect.
Well, I felt the first time I met you, which was we talked, I think, just through text for about 20, 30 minutes one time. And I
Yes.
was like, I felt like I was talking to an old friend. You know,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
my soul knew your soul.
Yeah, it's like a soul family or like a cousin or
Yeah.
something like that. It's very homey energy to me too.
So think about that. I would love
Yeah.
to have you on my show.
Yes.
Or we could do something together and it would be great
That would
to
be
do.
so lovely. Like
Are you
one
okay
of
to
the
do the
things,
images thing? Do you know what I'm talking about? You've seen what I do, right? We put the images up
yes,
and you
I love that. Yes. Uh-huh. So if you can get some images for
Mhm.
starting to generate some
Yeah.
dialogue, and then that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how to give me director privileges on your phone? Do you know how to do that? I don't know how to do that. I know how to do it in the computer. I just don't know how to do it on the phone. I don't know
I
if it can easily.
don't.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out if you're because if you in the future do that, I always have images. So I'm on my computer. We
Mm.
can bring them up and there's so many things in the world right now that aren't right that I would love to talk to you about. And if I could bring
Oh,
images
that would
up,
be great.
it makes it even more powerful.
So may Yeah, so maybe that I can download the system to my computer, laptop computer might be easier to learn some systems because
Yeah,
I'm
and
pretty
then you
new
have all the
to
pro tools,
apps.
right? You it'll be fun for
Yes,
you, even when you're just
yes,
on yourself.
probably. Yes, probably. So yeah, I'm gonna spend some time to educate myself a little bit with the computer and then to see how it comes out from there.
The with COVID right now, and you know that there's so much depression, and so many people are
Mm-hmm.
stressed out and they miss their old life. How have you been
Right.
coping? Because you seem somewhat balanced to me, one of the more balanced people I've met recently. How do you keep
Oh,
sane?
well, actually, minimizing the exposure from mass media, like media detox.
Okay.
And but we needed to be informed for emergency alert and then all these
Mhm.
systems. So we
Hi,
need to
Eleanor. Eleanor's
be in
here too.
touch
She's a
somehow.
spiritual person. Hello, Eleanor.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm shocked anybody's on. It's like 3:30 in the morning here.
yeah. I mean, when are you sleeping? That's the question. It feels like you're always
Oh my God,
alive and
we've
what's
got
like,
Martin here too. If you ever get comfortable with strangers in the future, I highly
oh yeah,
recommend
sure.
bring up
Let me how can I okay, how can I Martin? Okay, so
Martin
let
Shine.
me invite user, right?
Yeah,
Invite.
yeah.
This is my new thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
And then
But
Ellen.
I I know Martin very well. He's a
Okay.
very kind person, um, very bright. Eleanor's a great speaker with a big heart. She's very honest. But
Yay.
Haps is a huge family, and as long as we don't,
Looks like it.
well, you've seen my shows, right? And it's a mixture of
Yes.
people from all over the
That's so
world.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes. That's so much fun to observe. Did I send you an invitation,
So the way you do
Martin?
it, if you're
Uh-huh.
in your computer, it's so easy. You just click on his comment, and then it comes
Uh-huh.
up, and you just press invite. It's so cool. You can also follow and a bunch of other instructions.
Accept,
But
right?
the
Okay.
and in the studio part, when you're in here, I actually can see you
Mm-hmm.
off to the side as well, and then you can bring images. You can bring a video up. You can bring. It just gives you all the pro tools that you need. Plus, you can multi-stream on multiple platforms at the same time.
Okay. Okay. That sounds really exciting. So yeah, definitely. I would love to invite and then play with that. So the Martin. So how am I doing here?
Well, he may not come up because
Okay.
it's late, but you can always, and I always say that to them. I always say, look, I'll give you the invite. Some people are not camera ready. Do you know what I mean? Especially
Right.
women. The women are very, what's the word?
Yes, of course. Yeah,
And where
I
men will come
understand
with
that.
their hair like this, unshaven, and they're like, "How are you? How are you
Yeah.
today?" But if you could get like a microphone, they're not
Hmm.
expensive, especially where you are. Oh my God, you could get deals galore. And I could even like even this one here, the Fafine, you probably get it there for nothing, like so cheap, and it's a good mic. But you
Uh-huh.
would be wonderful for podcast. Your voice is so soothing. You have wonderful information, and you have such
Oh,
a
thank you.
rich knowledge and a kind heart. I knew
Oh,
that right
thank you
away.
so much.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Well,
D-
it's very nice flow here.
Yeah. What
So,
kind of
yeah.
schooling do you have? In
What kind of what?
schooling do you have? Because you seem like you're either self-taught, like have you
Mm-hmm.
done a lot of reading?
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean,
You
psychic
can
train,
tell.
you mean
You can tell.
that reading? Yes.
No,
I
but
mean,
just
the
in
psychic.
general, you seem to have a vast knowledge. What like when
Oh,
when when you were a kid, did you read a lot?
yes, steady.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that I found out my brain has a dyslexic. So it's always hard for me to read any languages. So that's one of the reasons that I gain some knowledge outside of that. And then, but just generally, educated in Japan,
Can you
and
read
then
her comment that she gave to me? I think
uh,
you'll find this interesting.
yes. Oh, okay. So,
Or would you like me to read it to you? I could do that if that's
yes,
easier.
could you
Yeah,
do that?
yeah.
Yeah,
We
that would
we
be
can work
easier.
together. You're so polite. Okay. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you. And this is to me. I just try to find the light in every troubled, dark time. And if
Mm,
I can't, I'll embrace the darkness and become my own light. Sometimes we have
mm,
to do that. So chew
mm.
on that. What do you think of that?
I think that the darkest dark is the most precious moment, and always darkest before sunrise, right? So that is not going to continue forever. Everything is changing, and then what we can do to embracing the darkness to see the lights,
Right.
you know what is that's the opportunity allow us to recognize what it is most shining, important light for the next, and then it always a next step, always. And if it's bright, and then it's hard to recognize that light and the gift because it's just so bright. So I think that balance, and reminding ourselves that it's not gonna universe is never be the same. So just becoming the own light, I love that. And the one of the things that are helping me is the nature. I
Hmm.
mean, nature always changes. Hello.
Hey, Martin.
Hello.
Martin,
Martin.
be very kind. This is a very gentle soul. Amy's not like us.
Hi. Nice connecting with you. Yeah. I know. Please
Martin,
do
can you
not
hear it? Can you hear us
activate
okay,
my
Martin?
Not at
inhibitions.
all. No, no, I can't hear about kind souls, and no, it sounds
Yeah.
good. It's doing
And
good, doing good.
being gentle. Yeah.
I was a bit concerned when I
uh,
saw this broadcast pop up on my digital device because it said something like afternoon coffee break chat, Michael, and I'm thinking,
yes,
yeah,
Yeah.
from Far East Japan.
you are there. Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't too sure because I read your profile and there's a bit of California in there as well. So I'm like, you must be in Tokyo at the
Yes.
moment if you're talking about coffee breaks and afternoons at this hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So Martin, can
I
you?
like your accent.
Yeah, Martin, just tell her a brief synopsis of yourself within a minute or so. Martin and I are the kind of people we could talk for 20 minutes. You give us a subject. Martin and I could do a broadcast for 3 hours and be very enthused with ourselves, and everybody else would be going, "Oh, sorry. We dozed. Yeah, yeah. Our style is called bulldozer, which means if you let us in the room, you no longer have a broadcast. And
Oh, geez.
you have two bulldozers right now. That's why I said be gentle.
Oh, I see.
Martin, do you agree with that?
I'm not going to disagree. I'm glad you said bulldozer. I
Yeah.
was a bit concerned.
Bulldozer.
Yes, yeah, our style. But my style is simply, believe it or not, Michael, listen and sort of interact with one another. And well, I'm a techie person really at heart, and always have been, from traditional television and video production, and of course along pops live streaming. 11 years ago, dare I say, Michael, and always that number. But yeah, it was about that, and I popped onto Periscope on and off when it was new. I didn't really embrace it as much as other people did, but as the technologies have evolved, so I've gotten more
I
and more
see.
into live broadcasting. But I had a bit of a hiatus over the last 2 or 3 years, a bit here and a bit there. But here I am now, trying to just be consistent, shall we say? And not, I don't even need to try at the
Consistent.
moment. Right, with people like us here on HAPS, certainly
Mm.
the community that HAPS has kind of pulled together from everyone out there.
Mm.
It's concerningly positive. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Amy, ask him a
Yes.
question, anything you want, and just so
So,
whatever.
Martin, I'm just curious about your lovely accent. Where is this coming from? Your
It's
accent.
well, I'm based in London, and I've always been
Oh,
on the
London.
London, yeah, London, England. But I'm just outside London, northeast, and I was born in the county called Essex, which has a great reputation when it comes to jokes, certainly across the UK.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's where
I
I'm
see.
from. Yeah.
Mm.
The universe definitely conspired for us to be together here. I've wanted, honestly, Martin, I've wanted to talk to Amy since the first time I saw her. I just every once in a while you meet a very pure light. I'm aspiring to be a tenth of what she exudes. Like I don't know where she got it from, but I believe some angels are on the planet, and some hover above the skies, and we have one in the room here. Now we have two, what do I call this? Bulldozers. We actually have an angelic being here as well. But so this is nice. It's balanced.
Yes.
We've got the yin and yang.
I could totally. Yeah, I feel very loving the energy around here.
Yeah.
Around this space.
Yeah.
It's basically around the planet. I mean, geographically, look at this. Like I'm in Far East, and then you're in London, and then you're in Toronto, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like very much covering the North Hampshire dots, the connecting the dots. Triangle.
So Martin said something I think you'd be interested in knowing, and maybe you guys can chew on this, but him and I have talked a couple times, but he talked about he was a recovering perfectionist. And
that sounds very familiar. The perfectionist. Me too.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Okay, so your intuition like that. Yeah, the being perfectionist is such a hard to serve. I mean, the refining is one thing, but allowing the universe to co-create is we must learn somehow. Like perfection in imperfection on our end, and then allow the universe to cook in together as more like deeper creative knowledge to mixing as blending as defining self-expression or creation, you know what I mean? So giving up is actually not the giving up, it's like a surrender and giving a space for the universe to make it more refining. That's how I say, to massaging that perfectionism, to align into a more healthy ego, like
Everything
to
is
make it
ego,
perfect. Yeah,
right?
to make it perfect is
Yeah.
defining self part, but surrender and making it imperfect and allow universe to take is kind of like a healthy, being part of larger one, to being open to more, better, perfect.
Amy,
Yes.
where did you develop your skill of being a good speaker? Because you have a comfort, a knowing when you speak, and where most people come on and they're terrified. Like
Uh,
I noticed you even were on by yourself and you would talk, and I almost had a feeling like you were like, I can maybe help a couple people. That was your goal. Maybe I can reach somebody today. And that is, I think, such a healthy way to approach this. It's not about you, it's about who you can serve and who you can help in this current moment. Do you agree with any of that?
yeah. I mean, the energy read.
Yeah. Martin,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's your turn to ask Amy a question.
I was just interested in something you brought up, Michael, when you were just talking there with Amy and saying that everything's ego.
Yes.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
you're talking in terms of everything is initiated by our ego? Or...
Oh, we could do a 3-hour show on the ego, but
Oh,
the
right.
Yeah,
because ego is generally spoken about as a not necessarily a negative thing, but something we need to be very aware of, because it can be very quickly something that can turn us into more of a selfish person rather than selfless. So I was just interested in that. But as you say, we can talk about that at length anytime.
but I think that's good. The one thing I've learned in the last year is the ego is this unquenchable thirst, is this beast that you can never feed enough, and it requires so much energy to maintain it and protect it. And what she said, which really hit me hard, was surrender. Surrender to the moment, surrender to this time, surrender to this beautiful broadcast that we're doing right now. Because we're all coming in here as equals. We're all right now trying to help the collective. I know that this broadcast long term will get a lot of views because people will resonate with the beautiful energy that's in this room. I feel like Martin has been put upon my path as a reflection of myself in many ways. Many of the things I'm working on within myself live and dwell deeply in Martin. So when I see him, and I know I trigger him sometimes too, we are working on that ego piece. But when I'm here with your energy right now, I'm just buzzing. I feel I'm in a safe space. Then everything is perfect and whole, and I'm okay to surrender for a few minutes.
It's really strange, actually, because when you were speaking about how you felt a reflection of yourself from me in some way, I was thinking of another one of our. I'm going to actually say for the first time our Habs family and friend, and she's appeared here in the chat.
Oh, no way! Oh,
yeah,
no
yeah,
way!
Yeah. The
That
lady
is
is
too
always
weird.
reminding me
that is too
we're
weird.
all one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you met Helga? This is definitely divinely inspired. If you're okay with it, please invite her up, because I think you two need to meet.
Okay. So so I'm gonna send invite
to Helga. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah,
new
but
experience for me. Thank you, Michael. I truly appreciate.
Well, it wasn't me. It's something in the cosmos is working on that. Yeah. This is working on that. Yeah. Oh, you got your thing on, Martin.
whispering,
Should be good
whispering.
now. You okay now, right?
I know we do this every broadcast. I have to do.
I
There's
tell you
some.
what, even as a techie person, Mike, I'll
Yeah.
keep this one brief, but I have headphones on. So when I open up the broadcast in another browser, it
Yeah.
confuses me why we hear ourselves back because we
Yeah.
shouldn't. But anyway,
Yeah.
well, that's another thing
It's
for the
another
team.
world. That's the perfectionist side of him.
Perfect.
Right.
Yes, it has to be orderly. It has to flow seamlessly, and it has to work. Helga,
Yes.
yes.
Morning.
Oh, Helga, I've wanted you to meet Amy forever. I've wanted to
Hello.
talk to Amy.
Hello.
Yeah,
Good morning.
I've wanted to
Good
talk to
morning.
Amy in person for
Helga.
maybe a year. So I'm so glad you're here. I don't know how.
Hi.
Yeah.
So
Michael,
glad
I
to
can't
be
hear you.
connected here. This is like a huge living room
Yes, it is.
space. Yeah.
Please introduce yourself, Helga.
Hello.
Hi.
Helga.
Hello. Let me see. Amy. My name is Helga.
Yes, actually, Army,
Oh,
like a
Army.
Army. Yeah,
Army.
Army.
Nice
Okay.
to meet you. I
Nice to
sound a
meet
little bit.
you.
I have a cold. It's not COVID. I just have a cold.
I think we're safe. We won't catch it from here anyway.
Well, don't say you are safe because I can send energy.
Luckily.
I know you're powerful, but I don't think you can give it to me from here. Okay. Only
Oh,
energetically. There you go.
oh,
Oh yeah.
are
She
you
says,
sending
don't mess
healing
with
to me?
she goes, don't mess with me. She's gonna get the voodoo doll out and I'm done. Okay.
Whoa, you look so familiar soul to me.
We are familiar.
Yeah, we're all familiar. Soul families.
It's weird.
Oh, I lost Michael. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is okay if you lost Michael.
Yeah.
He will come back.
Yeah. It's okay.
I love
Yes. A little banter
Is
is
it the
always
first
good.
time for you on Habs?
Yes, the first time actually I've been on my second week of experimental putting myself to HAP every day, a little by little, stretching and building the muscle, and then here I am.
Nice.
So is
I
it
already described to you.
tell her about the birds, Helga. What
The
happens when
birds.
the birds go crazy if it's very spiritual? The birds started going crazy. We had
Wow,
one
I love that.
when her and I were first talking the first time. The birds went absolutely mental to the point where we couldn't hear
Yeah,
each other.
birds. Lovely, lovely.
Do you feel the energy,
Of
Helga?
course.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Of course.
It's off the Richter scale. So it's Army. Is that what it is? Army, not Amy.
Army, yes, Army.
Army.
Just like it came from Mon Ami, the French. That's the sounds
Mon ami.
of army, Mon Ami.
Yes.
And then the Chinese character is the two words. A is the Asia.
Mhm.
Me is the beauty. So it's like an Asian beauty. That's what my parents came up with, the character. But it's interesting that in China, use that beautiful character is for that, the country of the United States where I was living long enough
Mhm.
for my entire life. So it's like Asia in America, that's the character containing the meanings. And then my name is basically love, Monami's amigo.
I believe that. You definitely vibrationally are love. I feel that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole presence. That's why I respond. I was listening to the conversation, and I felt her energy.
Thank
I
you.
thought I have to come and introduce myself.
Yeah. The
Thank you
Habs
for
the Habs community is really like someone was in, I don't know if you know Mookie, but he gave us a compliment but also gave us a slap at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
he said, I've never met so many nice spiritual people in my entire life. He says, as I have on Halves. He said, I'm so used to the trolls and the craziness on Periscope. I've had to adjust because
Yeah.
I'm always wondering what the secret agenda is of these people, and yet I haven't found a wrinkle yet or a crack in the foundation.
Yeah,
I
one
guess
of
it
the
is
things
time.
that I'm seeing on the screen, here is like very authentic presence of each of you, and then I truly appreciate that. It's the authentic, sharing of presence and your, with your voice and everything. So that's
I,
what really lacking from many other places. It's very shallow and easy faking,
I think,
So
Amy, you're being very, very kind and polite when you. I know you're referring to my lockdown hairstyle right now, being authentic. It's not my choice. It's not my choice. Oh, I can't wait to visit the barber when it opens again in 10 days' time. I'll probably be there in 11 days.
So,
Yeah.
Martin, where you live, do they not sell razors and shaving cream?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Have you
Well,
lost the ability to move your arms?
well, I'm trying to be
What?
authentic, Michael. I mean, what can I say? I did actually get to that point. Maybe it must be about 4 months ago, when I said to myself, just forget it, because is it? I mean, just be you, I mean, my hairstyle doesn't define me, or at least if it does, then I think you're thinking about me in the wrong way. I don't just mean anyone on this broadcast right now, but I mean, I don't want to sound in any way arrogant right now, but I
Never.
haven't got time for even concerning myself. So long as I don't,
Mm,
hold yourself together, do what you're good at, and help others, and that's it.
yeah.
I don't need to have the world's greatest hairstylist to be a positive person. Let's put it like that.
Yes. It might affect your entourage, though. So,
Well,
yeah,
we'll wait and see.
We'll see. Yeah. But no, we have playful banner in our broadcasts all the time. It's I don't know. I feel like something magical happened tonight. Thank you. And I felt that with Helga.
Thank you so much.
We had a
It's a
broadcast.
wonderful way
Yeah.
to start in the new month, April. And yeah, it's just lovely. So
I would love to
grateful
see
for-
a one-on-one chat with you and Helga, just you two sometime. That would be powerful.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
I think it would be free-flowing. It's honestly, you could put Martin and I in a room, and we would. If I had images, we could go for days. It would be sad, and people would go.
No, that it wouldn't be, Michael. Now, come on. Now, listen, excuse me. I'm not going to let you get away with that. It would not be sad. Certainly from your side of things, anyway. And seriously, I mean that because it's fascinating. It's always interesting. I feel the vibe as well. What you're talking about. Isn't it fascinating? This is a conversation in itself, so I'll just keep it as a headline. But how you can compare this to, say, meeting people in other social circumstances and situations, such as a bar, but meeting on here with that authenticity that you don't have to muddle through with a beer in your hand or any other beverage for that matter.
Well said.
Yeah,
Well
this is
said.
like
It's not necessary.
I really missed that.
Of course.
And I mean,
Of course.
I was a very cafe person that mostly every day going to a cafe and doing writing, getting to know people, and then chatting. In California, it's very common things to do, to getting to know, and then just having community going, and that is what is something missing in Japan actually. People are just so own things at cafe, and it's so quiet, and then especially this period COVID is more.
You just got a
isolation,
gift. You just got a gift of $1 from Eleanor Marie.
Oh,
she gave you the teamwork award.
Oh, thank you.
So on Haps that you can collect coins and
Oh.
I think you can help a lot of people in here. I really do. You have a very unique soul signature, as Helga does, and people are looking for refreshing, authentic, strong souls. And you're both confident,
Mm,
and you dig your heels in if it's not right. So that's good.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yay. Yay.
Yay,
I
indeed.
have one more question, if no other, for right
Yes.
Of
now,
course. Of
for
course.
Amy. Non-physical
Yes.
energy
No physical.
management.
Yes.
That's how you describe kind of part of your journey, if not a lot of it. Could you explain that in sort of words that
Yes.
someone like myself might not understand?
Yes. I mean, my journey of getting to know self about the way that how perceive, because I came from the perception game industry, which is advertising, and how people perceive particular information, and then what would be the effective way to deliver what we would like to tell. That's the perception game.
Okay.
And then realizing that my way of seeing is kind of backwards because my brain has a dyslexia. And then so the way I see is kind of not so much trustable in the physical way, like numbers and letters.
Because
And
you're
then
kind of already aware of what you might put in other words, what you just said in words like I'm listening and deciphering, that from your
mhm,
background professionally, that
mhm,
sector of advertising and marketing is into trickery.
yes.
And so therefore I think that is that one word you might use appropriately
Well,
there.
yes. And
Trickery and
then
deception.
yeah,
Yeah.
I came from the perception. So then it comes down to non-physical aspect of the how people perceive in particular informations, and that became my focus, like so into learning about, and then learn myself that I'm good at knowing that non-physical element as if it's been seen. So and then discover that your thought patterns, and then easy to recognize and make it as a word to organize, like cleaning up the mind with a word or visual to make it visible. So then people can easily get the idea from non-physical part of ourselves to make it as a, actionable things to make it better. So that's what basically I see things invisible better.
Well,
You know what
one
I'm saying?
thing I think as well, the little that I know about the advertising world and again marketing is that there are many
Mm-hmm,
focus groups, think tanks, we certainly call them from time to time,
mm-hmm.
and people that are effectively researching how the everyday person is affected by what they see, what they hear, and certainly on a unconscious, subconscious level as well. Because time
Yes,
and time again, we will see an ad, whether it's a billboard in the street or on television or
exactly.
online, and you don't actually realize half the time half of the effect it's having on you, and that can be
Mm-hmm,
as stark as the difference between a male or female looking at the same image.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I
there's certainly
totally.
some, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, and that's one of the reasons that I was so drawn into the subliminal effect of the messages, and then how human being is digesting these informations. And so, I was so into the hypnosis, like a self hypnosis, and I went to school and then learned about that, and then to how much we hypnotized by the informations, and then also self talk,
Mhm.
repeated pattern that
Yes.
hypnotizing ourselves, and then
Yes.
we got to rewire for ideal way to encouraging to more align to heart of the matter, and then becoming aware. That part is the hardest. That's what I learned from my own journey to get into more, learn about self, how I am responding to particular things. And then what helped me a lot is being in the diversity environment. Like I'm the only one person who's from the country called Japan in my community. And then everybody has a unique background in California. And then so to create something, the approach is so unique to each one of us to come up with, but the goal is the same, to make it better, so that is really helping to get to know own way of thinking. And then it's not a negative or a positive, it's just as is, and then to
Sure.
become aware. And then
Absolutely.
so
And
then
understanding ourselves better as well.
exactly.
Mm.
And then that's a good start to make it more ideal alignment. So, and then it comes to getting to know about your mind and thinking and repeated patterns, and BS is the belief system. It's hard until you really getting to know visible way to easy to digest and to become aware. So I was helping people to bring that non-physical part in a visible form, which is the writing or visual, whatever that using your intuitive, way to respond to the world around us, which is coming from some part of inside of us, right? Thinking or experience. So these are all information, and so our job is to become aware what we are resonating, what we are responding or not responding.
So important. I think it's so important, and I wish this was taught more in the curriculum. In school, before
Indeed.
people have the option to make a choice. Not. I mean, everyone should have choices, but I think that one of the fundamental teachings in school should be about what we're talking about, which is that in the world. I mean, we've experienced. I think the four of us here right now in this broadcast, certainly, we've experienced the world certainly more so than, say, anyone under 20 years old. Still, it may be in education. I mean, don't get me. We're always learning, all of us, every day of our life, but I think it's important for people to just be made aware starkly that as you progress in life, there are those that will try and influence you. There's manipulation. There is also people who will
Ego.
try to. There are people that will obviously try to influence you because their intentions are good and they do have your best interests at heart.
Yeah.
But this is fascinating stuff, and so many conversations to be had, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I do have to drop down, but you guys can stay, and you can.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and you guys can continue this beautiful conversation. I got to get my wife ready for work, so
I feel like we're a vehicle now that's about to lose a tire, and we're going to have to go and sort of jack it
you
up
guys,
and find someone to.
you guys are great. You guys are great. You're perfect, just the way you've got enough personality in here for 4 broadcasts. We're good. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
what a
you
blessing.
so much, Michael. Good
Have a
night.
great day, Michael.
Thanks,
Blessing.
Michael. Have a good
Oh, he's gone.
start to your day. That's Michael Bathurst, everyone. I just want to remind everyone that's michaelbathurst.com, I believe, but also here, as we've seen, you can click on his profile here and do follow, because he speaks to some fantastic people here, and he's so welcoming as well, as he proved today in this broadcast.
He is such a spirit. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
Well, so nice meeting with you. First time. I really feel like meeting some cafe, cyber cafe or somewhere. Especially I'm sipping my coffee.
Well, there's an idea for a broadcast, Army, which is, and Helga, it's simple.
Martin.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, if you can still hear me there, you dropped off there for a moment, but absolutely, we can have a virtual coffee day here at some point. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Those are my dogs. Still.
Oh, I love dogs. I love animals.
They're definitely awake. What is it now? Heading past. It's about 8 minutes past 10 p.m. Helga is there in the Netherlands.
10?
Yeah, she's an hour ahead of me. In London here, it's almost 8 minutes past 9 a.m. And for you, Army, I'm going to have an educated guess. I know.
5.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say you're about 9 hours ahead of me, maybe 8. So yeah, 8 hours ahead of London at the
Yes.
moment. And the
Mm.
reason you mentioned something a short time ago, you were talking about you mentioned the country Japan, and totally
Mm-hmm.
coincidentally, today, because it's a Friday as we broadcast this, I've over the recent weeks been speaking with a friend of mine who I first met in California, actually, when I was there
Mm.
many years ago. His name's Jimmy Heaven, and he's back in Japan
Mm.
now himself. So we've been
Oh,
meeting weekly online, having a bit of banter and chats on something called Shinecast. And in time, we want to.
lovely.
The whole point of it is to try and share with everyone, not just because there's a lot of people on here from the USA and from Western Europe,
Mm.
but to have an insight into Japanese, Chinese culture
Mm.
and many others. Fascinating. I mean, Helgar's there in the Netherlands, and we don't hear about that the Netherlands often enough, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
we often get fed on the mainstream news what the producers think we should be learning about and what they want us to see. But, you know, a
Mm-hmm.
television program is only, what, 30 minutes long for a prime time news bulletin, 30
Right.
minutes long. If they spend 5 minutes on each topic, that's only 6 things that have happened in the last 24 hours in a whole, you know, across the whole planet. And that's just
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Yeah. So there's, and that's why, I mean, dare I say, struggling at the moment, trying to put enough time in my day now to try and watch all these fantastic broadcasts here on HAPS. And of course, HAPS is, as you know, a newish platform, which then feeds out to
Yes.
all the other platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
YouTube.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
we have to start being selective and decide and be a bit more disciplined and say, no, I'm going to
Exactly.
watch this and not that. But of course, we mustn't close off the things that we wouldn't necessarily watch, because again, if we do that, we're not going to connect with anyone new or anything new and learn new things that we need
Mm-hmm.
to. I think we're in a very transitional time right now. We've said this before, I think previously, like for example, when live streaming video began and social media in general. But I think more people than ever certainly feel that right now. So, certainly, sadly, since it's taken a pandemic to do that. But I think with COVID,
Exactly. I totally agree.
there's been
Yeah.
some sort of jolt. How is it? How is it? Would you say, if you could cite maybe one or two things over there in the Far East, how has it really significantly changed the way people interact with each other and think?
I think from my point of view is that because the Japan is many elderly populations
Mm.
increase in numbers. So in the sense that technology is driven by younger generations, and it's pretty hard to catch up for elderly. So that's kind of the like a separation in the usage of the connection. But this remote work trend from this pandemic is encouraging, like a middle age, like 40, 50s, around there, to more into using technology, and then younger generation is encouraging elderly to use it. So see, it will take time to really using the service, and technology is to make some new feature available for these different age bracket people. But sooner or later it's become more use for connecting with the technology for the next couple of years, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one
And
of the
then,
things. Sorry, I was just going to say, taking a step back though,
yeah,
of course, some people in this age bracket aren't technically aware, so that could potentially be a problem. First off, couldn't it as well? I mean, over here we call the silver surfers. That's been a term for many years. But people who are more senior citizens might not be so technically advanced or aware. So trying to
hmm,
get those messages to them, that first step in itself might be a challenge.
Be
yes.
right
And
back.
then
I have to use the bathroom, please. Be
Sure.
right
because
back.
of that, go ahead. So because of that, uniqueness that it's easier for elderly people to really need and to use it for physical, like medical care, type of focus. So that especially during this pandemic that related to own, like a physical cares and medical surrounding that, that industry might be a really driving force for them to really getting familiar with using this technology and communicate with the family doctors, or like taking care, just catching up with the elderly, the family member in a long distance, and then that type of communication tools might be
No,
available
absolutely. I mean,
from now. That's my guess, but
yeah, I mean, you just highlighted one thing very important. Your general practitioner, doctor, for example, straight away with COVID-19 hitting, and as I say this in this moment, we've been in that now for just over a year. Where we've had lockdowns and had to change the way our modus operandi is. Doctors, though, elderly people now have had to get used to telephone calls or video calls rather than visiting their doctor. It's a very private matter, obviously, depending on what your ailment is. So, but that's something, again, where, very quickly, while younger people might not be too put off by that and don't find it so uncomfortable. Again, there's a certain, it doesn't have to be elderly people. Don't get me wrong, there could be younger people as well, but I'm saying in general,
yeah, of course.
I don't want to, I'm always open to, their sort of thing with my thought
Right.
process. And I realize I don't
And
want to
then
be point fingers.
especially that the baby, I mean, the younger generation is like population number is decreasing dramatically. So everybody is encouraging younger generation to have, get married and babies. And, that is really a big focus on the other hand. So that matching technology.
Yeah.
For like not dating so much, but it's like initiating the meeting opportunity because of the separation is really happening. It's servicing to arranging the meetings for the couples for intending to finding the marriage partner. So that is very active right now.
Yes.
And then even to demonstrate in how you can put yourself out there comfortably, safely to get to know, to really, establish a relationship and finding a soulmate, a significant partner through technology.
Yeah, it's again, I mean, that sort of thing has been around for a long time through choice. If you wanted to make those sort of choices, how to meet someone, whether it's on your digital device or just head over again to a local bar and in a social situation. But more so now, it's almost being pushed upon people because they didn't have that choice during COVID-19 with lockdowns. And yes, there's been a boom with people online meeting, plenty of it, of course. But it's a fine line. And I heard someone on the radio this morning, it's a great phrase I've heard before. He said that a desperate man doesn't make wise choices. So,
that's true.
And
desperation.
Right, but that was in the context they were talking about COVID, potentially COVID-19 passports now. People are saying that in the UK, for example, that they're seriously considering now that everyone carries around with them, metaphorically, some paperwork, maybe on your phone, to say that you've had the vaccine so that you are safer than the average person to go into a public space or a social situation, a restaurant, a bar. And but again, he was saying that, right now he'll do anything he will say yes to that, to just ensure that process is speeded up so we can get back into bars, pubs, clubs. But of course, as it's not necessarily think about all the implications in the future, the tracking fundamentally and people tracing you. all your
Mm.
private information now being shared if you do have such a document that you're submitting and everyone's sharing. Can I just draw
Mhm.
your attention to the comments? Yeah, I haven't been ignoring the comments, but the
Yes.
conversation is so
Yeah, me
fascinating.
too.
Is it Khalees was telling us earlier on that Khalees is in Florida, which is 5 hours
Oh
behind.
no.
So it's well, now it's around about, as I say, it's about almost 4:20 a.m. and you're in your
Ooh,
Florida winter home right now, but heading to your summer home in Bar Harbor in May.
nice.
Sounds it doesn't
Nice.
even the name sounds pretty well more than positive. Bar Harbor. I just got a
Bar
vision now of somewhere
Harbor.
serving loads of cocktails,
Very
in the little hut
attractive sounds like.
on the beach. Yeah, and then
Mm,
Eleanor as well, Eleanor Marie. I can't do all the social media; it becomes too overwhelming, and I feel I become
mm,
disrespectful. It's like I start to feel
mm.
bad for not giving the attention I should to relationships, and that's not who I like to be. Yeah, I think you're referring to the fact that you feel a duty then to start responding to people because this is what I don't do. I've never felt the need to do, which is
I
um,
totally in the same camp. Yeah, I
yeah,
totally
yeah.
with you. I totally hear that. Yeah.
I mean, there is a certain type of person. You can see it, you can feel it, without a doubt, and they feel that they should, if they've got something to tell their friends, and they might have 100, say for example, connections on Facebook. They will post it on
Mm,
Facebook rather than giving you a call and telling you, privately and having that quality, meaningful conversation. And so they put out this message on there to these potential
mm,
100 people, and then
mm,
yeah, then because there's this I can't remember what's the chemical in us, endorphins, is it that get going because of the excitement of
mm,
receiving messages back, and
mm.
sometimes that's what it's all about. They want that kind of buzz, but you can get it in a much more meaningful way by connecting directly with people and not just throwing it out there. There are certain times to throw a message out there, you know.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting that media, because I came from the advertising, so the media is kind of the work that I came from, and
Mhm.
the nature of that media is to, to get people's attention, right? To attract. So the social media is like people wants to put the best picture or best moment to show, and then seeing all this nice picture of all friends, and it makes us feel like, oh, I'm the only one that feeling this way,
Yeah,
that
well, that's the idea.
psychology
Yeah,
is a twisted mind. I
of
mean,
course.
but when we see it and then that really like our system digests is like, I got to do something, or these type of, not comparison, but it's like illusion can be created. So that's one effect that we are generating. That's psychologically through media. It's a positive
Mm,
negative
mm.
side both, but we got to be aware that they are posting the best moments to
Right.
share.
Well, you're
and
you're
and
you're
then
you're
the
kind
like.
of sorry, Army. You're referring to what is generally known these days as FOMO, fear of missing out.
So that's what I said here, like a four of us here. And
Yes.
then I felt the energy of very authentic. I think that's a key word, that people really want to touch other people's authenticity. And then sometimes it's easier to create with the new people, like, hi, nice to meet you, and to getting to know, because, the two close friend is kind of like, I want to keep the friendship. I don't want to show this to this certain friendship, or in order to be in the social, many complex wire in the energy is already there. So might be a good flow to just to connect the community, like here, be able to connect authentically. And
Mm,
then this place is holding the space for allow others to be resonating to that energy.
mm. I think I
That's
think
what I felt.
I was going to say as well. We're talking here again about how visuals are enticing and
Mm-hmm.
also compel people to watch, for example. But of course,
Mm-hmm.
I will be one of the first people suggest that actually the most important thing, more than visual, is sound. And I'll come back to that in just a moment. I just want to acknowledge
Yes.
Movie Man 175. We absolutely see your comments there, but as you can hear, if I say so myself, this is an
Yes.
intense conversation. It's a very positive
Yes.
conversation. So we will pick up on your comments if they're relevant, and they are when we get a moment. So I do see that all your comments there. But your grandmother is 94 years old, and
Wow.
I think Movie Man 175 is also in the Sunshine State as well, in Florida. I think I read that. But as you can understand, it's a bit tricky as well, focusing on our conversation and also everything's. We can't just, as I say, acknowledge your comments as they pop up immediately. That's the trouble when you don't have a producer in your team just dedicated, like they do on these other. I was going to say other professional shows. I don't mean other shows that are professional, whereas this one isn't. I mean other shows. We have a professional show. We just don't have a dedicated producer in the background there. But Helga can help us out there in a moment. I'll come back to you in a second, Helga, as well, and because it'd be great to hear her. I mean, she but what I wanted to say, Amy, talking about things, visuals. That are supposed to entice people in, and this thing about we've gone past that stage, I think, thankfully now, where people realise that it isn't about the number of friends that you have on Facebook, and that so frustrated me from the very early days that Mr. Zuckerberg and his team decided that it was appropriate to use the word friends instead of connections or contacts, or links, because so many people have grown up now. Understandably, they've grown up inappropriately believing that by clicking a button, someone is their friend. And their definition of friend, I think, for a good decade, these children, and they shouldn't have even been on Facebook, we know, under a certain age, but there were 6 or 7 year olds on there. They got access, however, and between 6 and 16, they've grown up with, some inferior contacts that they shouldn't have had in the first place, but it's taken them time to adjust, and hopefully they have adjusted, and some people may not have done, and so they really haven't known what it's like to meet a genuine person and sort of have to work through, in the more real way that we would have had to do. I say we, those of us that are old enough to have lived before social media. But my point was, my statement I made a short time ago is that sound, audio can be, and in my opinion is, more important than vision and visuals. Because let's face it, if it wasn't, how would radio work? So, it may be easier to convince people visually, but it's not impossible to do so with just sound and audio. And again, a lot of people, it might be, for example,
podcast and radio,
right,
and
exactly.
Clubhouse is now getting more attention as the younger generations are towards to that.
I'm hearing that word all the time. Yes.
Yeah,
Clubhouse,
I
it's a
think
new one.
that's a human's nature. I mean, we are basically human and pretty much about the same, not so much different. Like 100 years ago, the Spain flu was trending, and then pretty much doing the same, put the masks on. Maybe the technology is helping with the medicines or, that type of area, but we are just grabbing toilet rolls, disappear from the stores, and just behavior is pretty much the basic. The human needs is the same. And then the psychologists, like, we like to take care of loved ones, and we've got to do to protect ourselves, and then the priority comes when we are in the crisis. That's crisis response is pretty much not so much different as a human being. So coming back to that audio, radio, and to our sensors, to stimulating more imaginations or more room to enjoy that creative in between the listeners and talker or presenter, and like having a dialogue in between. It's the visual is too too much information sometimes in a shallow way. I mean, the visible, but some
Right.
sensors is that maybe we need to use the 5 senses, including intuition, imagination, in a balancing way.
I think that's all about being aware, though, isn't it? And that is the point. Not being aware when something hits you and you see it immediately. It's being aware that, wait a minute, it's just taking a step back, metaphorically and I guess subconsciously, as and just being aware that you need to take something for what it is, and dare I say, not necessarily at face value. Just it's like all these scams that are out there at the moment. If something seems to be too good to be true, it often is. It's amazing how many people though still fall in this day and age. Can I just go on to Michael was picked up on the fact that blocking and liking people on social media, it's a big thing for the younger generation now to either like another person or to block them, and I feel that's Helga trying. I think
is that me?
Yeah, no, I think it's Helga because she's come back with her audio misconfigured. She dropped out the conversation.
With my
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, I think we're there.
Yeah.
We're back on track
Is
again.
it okay now?
Yes,
Yay.
I think it is. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
That's okay. But yeah, so blocking and liking people, I think it's very sad that young people, I get the impression it's sort of like, it's like if they're upset by someone, they'll block them. And then when they figure it out by a phone call or whatever, or a text message, then they'll be like, okay, we figured it out now, I'll unblock you. And it's well, dare I say, it's unnecessary in my opinion, but that's the way they want to work. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's the best way, but it's a good point there that Michael does raise. And he also raises an even better point because it's fast. Look at the time now. Well, for Helga anyway, certainly. It's rushing towards lunchtime, and Michael loves a Clubhouse sandwich. But I don't think we're talking food when we Clubhouse. Obviously, you're speaking up on the this social interaction there with Clubhouse. I love you are connecting on a deep level. So do we.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for connecting us.
I mean, I didn't
appreciate
even think to myself, is he still listening? But it's so good. You are. I felt the energy somewhere, and that's why. This is why this technology.
I'm sensing Michael's energy here.
Well, yeah, clearly, yeah.
And invited in.
One other thing as well, when I mention this thing about radio, I do make a conscious decision myself when broadcasting like this. If I am sometimes a little bit what might sound too wordy, it's because despite showing people when I'm out and about, for example, and I'm like, there's the fields and there's the houses, that's because I am aware that there are some people that are listening, maybe they're driving at the time so they can't look at their screen, others visual impairments. So it's not impossible, far from it. It's easy to be a bit more inclusive and mindful of this. And so yeah, that's what I do anyway, to be a bit more descriptive if I can. And if you were going to hold something up now, like a picture, if I was speaking myself with an artist or they were speaking with myself saying this was my latest creation, I'd very quickly, they might not realize it themselves, certainly if they're new to this type of technology, but I'll be like, oh, that's a fantastic picture of a dog, for example, just in case somebody listening wasn't looking at the screen at that time. What are you currently grateful for? Oh, brilliant. This is one of Michael's questions, regulars. So let's go to the ladies first on this, starting with, and that's a great way to bring Helga back into the conversation as well. And I'm going to try and quieten up here because we want to hear from you, Helga.
Yes.
So Army first of all, and then Helga, and then possibly myself. But what are we currently grateful for on this second day of April 2021, even though Michael's still living no, he's not yesterday, I apologize, but someone anyway, go for it. Yeah, Army.
Okay, I'm so grateful for this flow that universe is cooking us, and the technology as well, and the wonderful weather of the spring, and wonderful people connecting us, 116 people. Thank you, and all of you. Blessings, and so grateful to be able to connect, and so grateful for. Thank you,
Helga. Welcome back.
I'm grateful for meeting Ami.
Thank you. I'm taking in good energy.
And I look forward to connect with you and my soul family so that we can build a strong spiritual community here on HAPS. So that is what I am grateful for.
Well, briefly for myself, I'll say
Goosebumps. Thank you.
I just have to be a bit lazy here and say that I have to replicate everything that you just said there, Helga, and yourself, Army. Just, the fact that this is working, and I feel it's effortless as well. In the same time, I have to say to myself, am I being lazy? And then remind myself, no, I'm not. The energy is just working here. And the more you just be authentic and true to yourself, then the quicker and the more this will happen is connecting with the right energy, the right people, which, as Helga reminds me so well and so often, because she needs to still, because it's new to me to remember that actually we're all one. Meeting ourselves.
Yes, oneness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
And at first, I mean, I smile still because I'm like, chuckle like, not that it's, I'm like, because it's when you start thinking in a different way. And we were saying this, we were talking about dimensions and on a spiritual level in other broadcasts recently. And it doesn't take long if you really want to improve yourself, let's say, and also learn new things. It doesn't take long if you're open-minded to realize, wait a minute, this cage, the mortal existence that we are wrapped up in, perhaps it isn't all that there is. And it doesn't have to just be like we're conditioned by average people because possibly they don't know better. With respect, a teacher at school might not be as enlightened as some of the people that you meet subsequently in life, as we're doing now. So they're doing their best for you, don't get me wrong, their intentions as a teacher in a college, university, even school, but still there's far more to explore as we're doing now. And I think it's brilliant. It's fantastic. This moment is absolutely brilliant.
Well, thank you, Martin. So I think I need to let you guys know that my battery is becoming red, so almost dying here. And I need your suggestion before the system is dying here.
My suggestion would be, do you have an AC mains adapter and plug in your device if you want to keep going?
But I was also I want to go pee a little bit. So maybe this is a good flow to authentically holding the space, and then maybe some other flow to invite in.
Amy, I don't know about Helga, but I'm happy to hold the fort until you come back. But when you said that with the power, you said it so well and so convincingly that I wasn't going to suggest that I'm aware that some people use this as a reason for something else being a necessity.
But it's the truth, the battery is going, then at the same time I was being called by nature, so...
The decision is yours. If you want to continue this podcast or continue on a new one later, that's Helga's here and I'm here, and entirely up to her. And you know what? We'll keep it going till Michael returns home, and then he can pick up.
Maybe so. Let me grab some snack and then go and pee, and then I may come back here and connect with you guys later.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for inviting us.
And then I see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. 123 people. I see you soon. When I
absolutely,
see
Helga,
you.
thanks for that.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.